Al Jazeera, Jaffna, northern Sri Lanka.
All right, well, let's now cross back to the Philippines and the aftermath of Typhoon Haiyan. Chris Weeks is the director for public engagement at aid group World Vision, joining us live from Cebu. Chris Weeks, the Philippine government spokesperson, has told Al Jazeera that they're not happy with the speed that aid is getting to victims and survivors. Are you frustrated by the pace of things?
The fact is, this is an enormous logistical challenge. The first few days after the disaster, it was impossible to reach many staff. I went on a huge aid delivery yesterday. We got 25 tons of emergency food and water up into the hills just north of Cebu, where I am. I say just north. It was a pretty remote area heading towards the top of the island. That aid did get through. Even that was a challenge, but we know there are communities even beyond the point we reached yesterday who desperately need, well, the first thing they need is food and water, and they will need a lot of support beyond that too.
And when you say, Chris, that it's a challenge, can you just give us an exact idea, picture of what you're talking about?
Sorry, could you repeat the question?
What sort of challenges are you facing when you talk about challenges?
Yeah, so the most pressing challenge is one of simply reaching places. I mean, we're on one of the central islands. Of course, the typhoon swept from east to west across this central bank of islands here in the Philippines. And we're, I guess, in the middle of those series of islands. And this isn't actually one of the worst affected places. But even yesterday, getting all that aid, this was really basic stuff like food and water. Getting it into trucks here in Cebu City is fine. Getting out of Cebu City, getting trucks all the way out into these really remote communities who so desperately need this aid is the challenge. And when we were out there, there was no way of communicating with each other. All the phone lines were down. And we just saw destruction all around us. Houses flattened. We spoke to so many people in the distribution centre yesterday who have just lost absolutely everything.
And Chris, you're in fact, I believe, at the airport in Cebu, and that's one of the main hubs being used to distribute aid to all the people that really need it. I mean, we know that international aid is coming in. There is aid as well from the Philippines government. Are you seeing signs of a scaled-up aid operation in Cebu?
Yes, again, I am having trouble hearing you simply because of the aircraft coming and going directly behind me. But yeah, so the aid we took, the rations we took up yesterday for this first major aid drop were actually sourced here locally in the Philippines, and it was a real local effort, people pulling together. A local supermarket actually helped pack all the food, and we loaded it into trucks. And it was our local staff. We've got 600 local staff here in the Philippines. It was those guys who did the effort and got it out to those communities. But we are also seeing aid arriving, primarily shelter from the British government. And we're also sending some equipment over from our stores in Dubai, which will be arriving here at the airfield behind me. That's fine, getting it to the airport, getting it to a centre where all this is packed up. But then, as I saw for myself, the huge operation then is to load it into these trucks and get it out into these incredibly remote places where the roads are pretty bad, but there's no electricity and there's no way of communicating.
Okay, Chris, thank you very much for giving us a sort of first-hand account. Thank you. That's Chris Weeks speaking to us from World Vision. The headlines on Al Jazeera. A spokesman for the Philippine president has told Al Jazeera they're not happy with the speed aid is getting to survivors of the typhoon. Aid agencies are slowly getting through to the worst hit places, but basic infrastructure has been badly damaged and insecurity continues to